Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Oh my gosh, Edgeworth, what are you gonna do, bro? What is happening? This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as it. Damn! Please stop. I beg you, if people find out. If you're gonna say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. What? The way this man is going in right now? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. This sucks. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are back with, yes, another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. This is going to be the second half of the case in which we are trying to prove on guard's innocence. Now, if I remember correctly, the last time that we played this, we did have a little bit of an intermission following the first half of that trial. So we're gonna be, just figuring out some things. Actually, bro, I don't even remember what's happening. I'm not gonna lie. It's been over a week since I played. It's been a minute. I might be rusty, but it's all right. We're gonna jump back into it, and we're going to be as good as always. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode, I don't even remember, of Ace Attorney. Let's get into it. March 22nd. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian, no way, not cool and collected. Adrian Andrews, that's right. Adrian has been the one that's been summoned to the court because we found out that the evidence pointed to her being the only person who could have had access to on guard's belongings, such as like his cutlery, to be able to go and make that cut. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off, to be honest. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? Yeah. I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying that it was really her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see this by the time this trial is over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yeah. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impact's as her strength and reason to live. Yikes, okay, I could live without seeing this again. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left the suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible, but one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Was it not, what's his face? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency into issues with regards to Miss Impact's. It was Edgeworth, that's who it was. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Dang, I forgot about that. I thought Edgeworth came to help me. Turns out he's here to tear me down. Like an unwanted poster. Dang, dog. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered this crime in Mr. Corrida's room. Alright, Chief. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt on guard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. Bro, she didn't even say the name. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. See, now I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Who does that? Nobody does that. Nobody's like, the rumors are true. We hard. Like, no one's doing that. Yeah, instantly I don't believe you. So it was a fry and bait matter. What was that, bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness. Please testify to the court. about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. I'm sorry. Nobody I know is admitting to being in that kind of relationship like that just easily. At least not in that way. She was grinning too, bro. Nasty! It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. Okay. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Why did you pour yourself a glass of juice? You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yeah, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? Okay, so just press her on everything, right? Or am I only supposed to press her on the right things? I don't know, I guess we're about to find out. It was time for the show to start. Okay. And what time was Mr. On Guard doing, or what was Mr. On Guard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. On Guard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you? Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. On Guard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. Bro, I glazed you and this is how you treat me? I understand being on the opposing bench, but do you have to be like this? Why? Scathing with the insults. For what? We're supposed to be broskies. Broskies on the low skis. After that, I went to Juan's room. And what did you do in Juan's room? And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Press that. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon. What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. Maybe we continue now. Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Coretta. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock, and you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Yo, Edgeworth, was that a... Hold on a minute, you trying to spit game or what? Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. Even Edgeworth is over here like, hey, yo. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same... Yeah. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yeah. Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this, too. Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass. Yeah, I am curious about this. This seems a little bit like, what the juice? Like, what kind of juice are we talking? That's right, tomato juice. There was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Coretta, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What the? Nah, bro. What was she starting to say just now? Press her. And you better not object, Edgeworth. Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's just, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. Hold on a minute. I didn't touch anything else. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. And that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and your reality. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony right now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. I have to find something. I just have to, for Maya's sake. Alright, so we need something about her not being, like, calm. Suicide note, shock from Celeste's suicide, strangled with a scarf, stabbed with a knife. This was Lotta's photo of a picture. That is still weird. That's still a mystery to me. To all of us. Tomato juice, poured it on the counter there. You have Andrew's fingerprints on it. There is some water, but only on the top of the lid. Bears Caritta's fingerprints. Magazine article. Stolen on the night of the murder. Radio transceiver. Let's save it and present her own profile. I feel like there might be something there to suggest that... Nah. It was the one who knocked the vase over. I don't know. Something just popped in my head thinking it could be the guitar. I mean, it's the only thing that popped up in that last testimony, so let's see what they have to say about this, because I honestly don't even know why I picked it. I just guessed. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over, is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell into the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. It's a flower vase, of course it's gonna be full of water though. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not on the outside. Oh, because it was open. I see now. I see. Hold on. Empty, there's some water on the top of the lid. Because it was open in the crime scene photo, wasn't it? I missed it somehow, bro. Yup. Damn it. So it's possible that she might have opened it up. Okay. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor, and it's right in front of it, not on top of it. If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Andrews testified about. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Look at the judge just going along with what everyone... Bro, critically think, my brother in Christ. Make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but you... I can't believe I'm doing this either, to be honest. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. Let's hear about it. I'm about to crush this testimony. I don't know. I got a feeling. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Bro, what is up with you, bro? Did you fly to Andrew Tate's private island? Why are you like, you came back some like crazy level of like, I'm alpha. Do you even do grammar right? You're not a man. You're weak. Like, what is this? Bro, speaking like he's like, I don't know. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see, are you sure you were the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taken over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. Cap. I'm gonna press the rest, but I already know it's Cap. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic, it's not a real big deal though, right? Nah, it is a big deal and you're gonna tell me why. Or I'm gonna tell you why. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials will be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, I don't even know. I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk was with evidence, so I should give that a try. Alright, I know. I didn't even need to read that. Save! I think it's the first statement. I'm just gonna press it again. Alright, let's try it on this statement here, because this definitely says Corrida's fingerprints on it. That's not it, but it's one of those. It's one of the two. Let's go! There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Okay, now I'm Sherlock. Cool. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Okay, now we're cooking. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems that... That's strange. Let's talk about it, because... Hold on a second. That's strange. Because we have your fingerprints on that. You're wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove? Yeah, bro. This wine glass. Take this tomato juice straight to the face. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on the wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Yeah, it would make you a little guilty. Wait, you just have a pair of glasses on standby whenever you like freak out like this? How often does this happen? What does your optometrist think? Order! Order! Looks like you hit the nail right on the head this time. Thank you, Mia. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar. The bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case, or what was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. What are we on right now? I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that, on the case... Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court toward an unrelated topic and lull us all into this misguided. No, Your Honor, please. Recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in the photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us to why the guitar case has anything to do at all with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean... So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty, is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? They got me. They got me. They got me. Ooh! Ooh! The note. Damn it. Yeah, bro, they got a health bar off of me on that one. I ain't gonna lie. A camera? What could have been in there? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I just spent like a good 5 minutes on this trying to figure this out, and I had just clicked. I was just guessing. This is a photograph. Look at this photograph. I feel like I made that joke like 80 times before. I'll make it 80 times more. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture. It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. Okay. I don't know why it would be in there. What? So that she could wear it, so she could put it on coming out of it? Coming out of the room? That would make sense. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to do something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get in the shot. Get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? I mean, it's a fire way of having her escape the room. I just couldn't figure it out, so I'm kind of halfway salty that I couldn't figure it out. Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. I know that's right for me, personally. I know that's how I got through the first game. That's how I'm almost through the second game. I'm probably gonna play the third game like that, let's be real. So the real murder was hiding inside a costume. Wait a second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt on guards. Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. Okay. It was spare? I would say it's stolen. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. On Guard. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have the costume, then Mr. On Guard would be forced to go naked. What? Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt on Guard did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. Damn it. Hold on, we'll see where this goes first. Is this not correct? Why would you give me all that dialogue, bro? Just to tell me I'm wrong. What kind of sick joke is that? Oh my gosh, it was a spare. Mr. On Guard did not take his costume off during the break period. I just forgot he didn't take his costume off. His costume off is all. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, There were 2 nickel samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. Then how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought the spare to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Mr. Juan Corrida, was the Gemin ninja. Why would he secretly bring the nickel samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason for behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. I think a save is in order, and then we'll get to the... Not the title screen, not yet. The reason the victim brought the nickel samurai's spare costume to the hotel was... What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the nickel samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the nickel samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up right. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. On Guard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I had my suspicions. Now they're confirmed at least. I didn't know for sure. Victim? Yes, the spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the nickel samurai. He was going to hold a conference as the nickel samurai, but why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The nickel samurai was going to confess something, and by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt On Guard. Yes, I mean, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure. Huh. Miss Andrews? I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. You devious, fine little snake. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the jamming ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? Huh? Huh? And what do you know? And do you know what the secret of Miss On Guards is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. On Guard? Interesting. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could tell us about the truth, tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. All right, another testimony. Let's see. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep in mind that as you cross-examine Mr. Wright... Looks like somehow everything is swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. I don't know how we gonna do it, but we gonna do it like we always do it, baby. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I understand that was the murderer. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach us that in school. They didn't teach us that to They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. So, would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event in that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt on guard. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. Why? But I'm sure Mr. On Guard himself didn't know anything about this press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Yeah, actually. Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I don't know. I know what his motive was, but I didn't have any way to prove I'm right. Let's talk about it. Has Mr. On Guard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Corrida with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. On Guard, yet you still helped out. Yeah, whoa. The person on trial right now is Mr. On Guard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. On Guard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. On Guard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. I don't even know why, though, because I always come through right at the end, so the judge can freaking shove it. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. Okay? Let's talk about it. You can hardly... Damn it. Decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammy Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's Hakama. Isn't that correct? I would think that it makes very decisive evidence. Looks like you outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Why is everybody hating on me? Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Hold on a minute. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit perfectly together, or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you are not. Ugh. I thought I had it for this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where? Damn it. As I expected, Miss Andrews just when he's... Hold on, I messed up. I messed up again. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt the need I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. On Guard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corrida planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. On Guard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will toward the defendant. This isn't Phoenix Wright wax philosophical power hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews. Okay, really? Because it seemed a little wishy-washy, I guess. See if I press a little further. You should know this by now. We need strong decisive evidence to make it talk. Got it, Chief. Okay. That button was torn off Juan during his fight with Matt. Hold on, wasn't there something she was like proved that he didn't get a ticket? There was something about him not knowing about the ticket, but I don't think it ever came up. So we don't have proof of it. I'm confused about this. So if it was torn off during the fight, why was it in the Hakama? Why would there be blood on it? I'm confused. I gotta double back and think about this for a second. I don't know. Let's bring that up. Save that real quick. And let's present that button, because this is weird to me. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so she learned about it from the autopsy report. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? So that the button came off before they would have had a chance to get the knife on him? Or in him? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it isn't possible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ugh. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Order! Order! What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposefully rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with... I don't know, you tell me after I hit the save button real quick. To pin the crime on guard. I mean, that was obvious. I don't even know why I had to save. I think I just like saving too, just to have like some extra like cushioning, so if I end up losing down the road, I'm not all the way at the beginning of the thing. There's only one logical reason for doing something like this. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. On Guard was set up by the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down. Not yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person to frame on guard. This is insane, bro. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you. You are Mr. Corrida's killer. What? That's kind of crazy. Order! 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 Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion on guard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And only the one who had dinner with him knew which knife to take, which was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. On Guard was the real killer, there's no way he would put so much time incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Okay, here we go. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. On Guard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. Oh! That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of Tim Andrews is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, She was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth would believe the Nickel Samurai is Mr. On Guard. He would be much too short for his own costume if that was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes, you are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. On Guard's room... Adrian Andrews! Yes? Think hard about what we discussed. Understood? Alright. Ooh, so it was Von Karma who set her up with that. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea in her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. You did a good job proving everyone up to this point, Phoenix, but there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What's so humorous, Miss Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita. What? Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There's no way to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taken that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial... Tomorrow? We don't have that. We don't have it tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Alright, Phoenix, tell me what the plan is then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. It isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Who's objecting? Edgeworth? It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you... It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. There, now we're back. Now we're so back, bro. Thank you, Edgeworth. Testify. Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Interesting. Interessante. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Yeah, he is giving off very, like, I don't know, wishy-washy vibes, but hey, he's helping me, so I'll take it. He can roast me all he wants, as long as he's gonna help me clear this case. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. Oh, man, this is what? Testimony number, like, 4? 4.5? That glass of juice. I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. So to be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. So I went to pour him some juice. Then I realized that he was dead. That's when I knocked the flower vase over. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. All right, this one's for all the marbles. Let's get it. Okay, so who did you pour it for? But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. And now you over there stroking him off. Like, stop, bro. Ugh. I was surprised when I walked in the room and saw it in a messy state. So, it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? Conjecture? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness? And Juan, he was just sitting slumped over. Okay. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me or did that sound a little odd? It looked like he was sleeping? Go back. Actually, go forward. Thought he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix and then felt tired after his rampage, so decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see, so you didn't think he was dead at all. This is stupid. To be honest, I can't believe we're entertaining this nonsense. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. Cool, so let's talk about it. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first. But then, the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten in a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice? Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see. And after that, what happened next? When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response, so I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward. And knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. This is what all it comes down to. This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now is our best chance to kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Slumped over with his eyes closed. Bro, there's a knife in his chest. What do you mean he was sleeping, you dingus? Go back. Save. Nah, she definitely is losing it. She's losing her mind. What? So she didn't Stop. Sitting slumped over, tired looking. Oh, my bad. Definitely looks like he's taking a nap. Like, what? Maybe it's this. What? Bro, nah, this is weird. Hold on, maybe it's on this statement. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Yeah, bro, explain this one, bro. Explain this one. I mean, I caught it. I just didn't catch on the right statement. What's the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought there was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who's fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No! It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt on guard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me, it wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who just refused to testify, and your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. What is that? What are you hiding that's got you so like, I don't know, different? Then there's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Madongarde's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt on guard. What? Who's objecting? Your Honor. The prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The real reason is quite simple. The witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth. What do you... Witness, do you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted the silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt on guard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke then it would be all over and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt on guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me, I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what deed she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying right over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I'm the kind of man who likes to save every once in a while, you feel me? I'm a safe, not sorry kind of guy. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this, not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you were really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. On Guard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Wait, no, sure. Mr. On Guard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet, how dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. Hold on a minute. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However, what is it, Miss Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth? Oh my gosh, Edgeworth, what are you gonna do, bro? Oh my, what is happening? This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop, please stop. Yo, hold on. This might be, I don't know. This is crazy. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as it. Damn! Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is OD. This is OD even for a lawyer. He said, I'm going to manipulate and break her down piece by piece until I have her testimony. I don't give a damn. The secret of her dependent nature, having other people know about it, scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're gonna say you wish you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. What? Bro, this is insanity. The way this man is going in right now. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk. Please help me. This sucks. This sucks. I actually feel so bad for her now. Nothing matters anymore. Okay. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure that there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Bro, this is a lot. She stabbed the body with the knife. Why would you do that? Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man. What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Coretta, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. So she wasn't the killer. Okay. And this is her crime. Whoa. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. What? This is number 5. This is insanity. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. Why am I reading this all again? But you could tell from the state of the room that the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf was part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away when the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged piece of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Wait, hold on. His what? Expose him for what? Expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. Okay. So she thought to expose him with the knife first. That was so you can get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes toward him. Matt was napping with his costume at the time, or on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did, but at the time I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Unguard's Hakama. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. What inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes that it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared the costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is his secret? That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Ungard's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ungard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. But if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as the testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor, the defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let us go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for the day. Did we just lose? That judge. Today's trial, it's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card on your hand. It had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time, you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. That's right, we already have that. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there, right next to him. What? You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have subconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any irrelevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Witness! That card! Give it to me! Edgeworth, do you have any idea what you have stupidly, yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. What? That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? Oh my gosh. Alright, I figured there was more to it, but there really is more to it. Okay. I'm thinking this, there's still so much to this. Part 3-1 investigation. Bro, what happens to Maya though? First of all, yeah, what happens to Maya? Because she's cooked if that was her last day. No, that was the last day that we had to be able to get anything on these other people, bro. That was the last day for her to be able to live. We need to get a not guilty verdict. Someone is working behind the scenes overtime. They knew about the plot. or they knew that there would be some plot, because I feel like their move is that they need to get a not guilty on guard, because it would implicate that they were the murderer somehow or something. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Honestly, a lot of this case was mostly just digging up more dirt. I think the real heavy hitter is going to come the next time. I'm excited for that. Again, I'm trying to see what happened to Maya. Now we'll just have to wait till next time. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's episode. I hope you did enjoy that. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you always know when I'm posting a new video. In the description below, there is also a link to my Discord if you want to join that, and that's where you can also be notified whenever I'm either posting a new video or going live over at twitch.tv/UNIYX. I will see you guys in the very next video. Peace, y'all.
May be weak.